We need to talk about a process that also controls and regulates blood pressure, and it's called the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system or reflex. This is going to be a cascade of hormones that are going to end up regulating our blood pressure. So if our blood pressure gets too low, this thing called the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone reflex kicks in and helps raise our blood pressure. Now, we are going to split this into two different handouts. We're going to look at handout 21C, and then that will lead us into handout 21D. I am not going to include handout 21E this semester, just to try and keep things a little simpler. So what it says here is, as the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone reflex is going to kick in when we have decreased blood pressure. So it says we have a decreased blood flow to our kidneys. So it's really the kidneys that signal this and get it started, that release a hormone cascade. The first hormone that is released by the kidneys is this hormone called renin. So what I'd like to do is go over this with you. We're going to do handout 21C first, and then we will work on the actual renin-angiotensin-aldosterone reflex with 21D. So here is our handout, and it says 21C is going to talk about how our body produces this hormone called aldosterone. So aldosterone is the hormone that's going to actually regulate our blood pressure, but we have to produce it first. We have to make it. So we have our typical hypothalamus picture here. Oh, we've seen this before. So the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. All right, this shouldn't be new to you because we've seen it before. But it says the hypothalamus is going to produce a hormone. It's a releasing hormone called corticotropin releasing hormone. Corticotropin releasing hormone is a hormone of the hypothalamus. All it does is move from the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland, and it's a releasing hormone. So it's going to be a hormone that releases another hormone. In the anterior pituitary, the hormone that corticotropin releasing hormone stimulates is the production and release of this second hormone called adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone is made in the anterior pituitary. So corticotropin releasing hormone is going to signal adrenocorticotropic hormone to be released, and it's going to be dumped into our bloodstream. All right. So that's the first step. Now, we really should just cover this up right now because I want you to think about what's going on. So adrenocorticotropic hormone is going to go into our bloodstream, and it's going to make its way down to the kidneys. Now, it actually doesn't stimulate the kidneys. It stimulates the adrenal glands sitting on the kidney. So it says it activates our adrenal cortex. That's in the adrenal gland, not the kidney. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to cause the body to produce a whole slurry of hormones. The adrenal cortex, first of all, is going to release a hormone or a set of hormones that we don't really care about for this chapter, but it's important in the big scheme of things. One of the things that adrenocorticotropic hormone tells the adrenal glands to make are these two hormones called cortisol and corticosterone. Cortisol and corticosterone are going to do some things that are not related to our chapter, but I'm going to put them on here anyway because it's just good to know. So cortisol and corticosterone are going to respond to inflammation. they actually knock down inflammation. So if you have a lot of inflammation, let's say, you're having an allergy attack and you've got swelling and redness and you're sneezing, that's all inflammation. Cortisol and corticosterone are going to knock that down. That's why if you get a rash, like let's say you get into some poison ivy, you may take a trip to the store and buy some hydrocortisone. Well, hydrocortisone contains cortisol and corticosterone, and it relieves all that inflammation. So that's one thing that this does. Another thing that it does is a process called gluconeogenesis and a process called lipolysis. For this, all that you need to really know is these two processes are breaking down fats and processing fats. So cortisol and corticosterone are part of our fat metabolism. We're going to be breaking down fats using cortisol and corticosterone. Now, that's just some extra stuff for us. And I may have a question or two on the exam about that, but nothing in great detail. The hormone that we're really interested in is aldosterone. So adrenocorticotropic hormone is going to tell our adrenal glands to also produce aldosterone. And what aldosterone does is really regulate three things. It's going to regulate our potassium levels, it's going to regulate our sodium levels, and it's going to respond to low blood pressure. So aldosterone is a hormone that can raise our blood pressure if it's too low. And we will look at that in the next handout. So next handout will be handout 21D, and that's actually going to go over the process of what aldosterone actually does. So let's get to that one next.